Okay, we're in. Uh it's a new year, guys. New year, new monkey. Welcome. It's been 24 hours. I'm sure everyone's seen, or as many people have seen, the Darwin incident. And we might have a new Planet of the Apes, right? The anime. Right. And it's not, I know. I'll get into it, but listen, it's not as far as a stretch as I'm making, right? I know you see on Monkey, but listen, it's it might be the next big thing. Who knows? All right, so let's get into it. Okay, we're back. All right, guys. So let's talk about it. First of all, before all of that, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to everyone. We're what year? What day is it? Today is January 7th. So the first week of the new year, and the motto is consistency. Because with YouTube, that's what you got to do, right? You got to stay consistent, and I'm gonna do my best to do that. Just a quick intro for those who don't know: I am Coco Dan, the host and creator of this channel, and I've been watching anime and reading manga for the past 20 years, as you can tell by the hairline. Okay, I'm seasoned in this thing. All right, so I got some years on me, but I'm not a critic. I'm not an expert or anything like that. I just love watching anime, same as you guys, I assume. But I'd also wanted to, create a space where we could be a little more vocal and visual, right? Because everyone, a lot of times, they look at us as, online warriors, right? We're always like, typing and, behind the scenes, and someone will make a crazy take, and then they'll just paint the whole community as, oh, this is what they all think. Anime watchers, this is how they all think, and all that. And you know, I decided, hey, listen, let's put a face to the name, right? So over here, you can say it with your chest. You can come on live with me, and we'll discuss whatever the topic is, and you can tell me your thoughts, your feelings, and that's what this whole community is about. That's what I'm trying to do, right? And you don't yeah, you don't no more going online and just hiding behind a keyboard, because I don't know about you guys, but if there's one good thing I did learn from, maybe following celebrities or whatever, and having a burner account. I don't have any more, but um one thing I did learn is attention, right? Like, if you notice, some of the biggest celebrities, they don't feed attention to um people who are unknown, right? And that's just kind of generally how you should kind of handle your life, right? If you see someone saying certain things about you, and it's like, why should I care what you think? But then it's even worse when they don't even have a face to the name, right? They'll say, oh, the wildest crazy things. You've seen the skits or the documentary about that rage baiter, that master rage baiter, master troll, and he will just use different computers and just send out, crazy statements, and then everyone's replying and getting crazy, and it's like, this person is just getting a rise out of you for nothing. But yeah, so I'm like, one thing I did learn from them: public figures, they would never answer. They would never answer anyone who doesn't have, like, a lot of times, a lot of them. Sometimes they don't even have to be as big as, A-list celebrities. I know for sure, like, people like Beyonce and Jay-Z and those guys, they don't even if it makes the news, they won't even answer you. But like, just it could be like the IG model. If you had a burner account at some point and you say something wild, sometimes it's wild, sometimes it's just whatever, like a, uh, you know, I'm trying to justify myself. Sometimes it's wild. Sometimes it's just like a normal, you know, comment. It could even be positive. They won't still answer because it's like you don't want to feed that, right? Because and it's positive. Okay, so what, you answer that one, then you want to answer the negative, then that shows a clear bias and all of that. So that's one thing I learned about that. And with this community, I'm hoping that we can, come on live and talk about our thoughts, our ideas on whatever the topic is, and be present, like show your face, right? So I know a lot of people are going to be watching this on the replay, so it is what it is. It's a small channel, but the goal is to go live and then bring you guys up as well. And of course, priority will be given to people who are actually on screen, right? So we're trying to create a visual vocal community. I remember one of these big anime pages, and they did street interviews, and they asked the lady, what's your hottest take? And she said, what did she say? She said something about how anime is only popular today because in the West because of women in the 80s and 90s, because they uh, they bought a lot of merchandise at that time. They would cosplay, they had a lot of yaoi, art, right? So they really went into it, right? And then guys then came later or whatever, or became a little more celebrated. It's a very hot take, right? But listen, I respect it because I don't know if I agree with it too much. I mean, I wasn't born here, so I don't know what life was like then. But I respect it because she put her face out there. Even at the top comment, she's like, guys, stop hating on me, and because they were flaming her. But then you go through the comments and then you see a lot of people supporting guys, girls, and like when you have a face to your name, there's a certain level of validity to that, because you're willing to stand 10 toes down. You're willing to put your name out there. It's easy to type whatever outrageous, comment you have, and you don't show your face. So this is all about being visual, being vocal. All right. So that's what this channel is about. And we talk about whatever is going on in the anime community, usually in terms of like actual, uh, series or shows. Okay. So today, you can tell from the topic, from the title, we're talking about the Darwin incident. And this is a really, really good, really good show. I'm not at first. We all saw the trailers, right? It was crazy. Also, it's interesting. Okay, how they gonna spin that? I never finished like the Planet of the Apes. I was never really too into it. I think after the first one, I dropped it, or the second one, but it just started feeling like it got too long. I think it's, what is it, like 5 or 6 movies now? I don't know, 4 or 5. But I was like, yeah, okay, you're milking it now. But it was I like the first one. I like the introduction, and I saw this one, and I'm like, okay, what are they going to spin with this? Because this one is a bit more, I would say, controversial. Because we have, I'm gonna have to pull my notes up here. We have a very, very interesting situation in this show. So if you're new, I'm sure you've seen it. That's why you clicked on the video. But just in case you didn't see it, this show is about a human hybrid chimp, pretty much chimpanzee. So they call it a human Z. So it's pretty much the hybrid between a human being and a chimp. And yeah, it's pretty much going to be about his life, the friends he makes, and yeah, it's controversial in the sense that it tackles a lot of topics. We talk about you could argue the creationist perspective versus the evolutionist perspective. Vegans, vegetarians, versus the meat eaters like myself. um, and then other people also like letting nature take its course or letting nature happen. So there's a lot of things. It's actually very deep. It's very layered. It comes off in a weird way or in a good way, but it doesn't. You'd have to kind of really think about it. When I was writing like the notes for this, I was like, wow, I was finding out more stuff. When I was watching it, I enjoyed it. It was cool. But when you watch it like a second time, you're like starting to notice stuff, and it's like, wow, okay, okay, I can see this. So first off, if we start with the OP, and the opening is fire. All right. I think we can all agree the opening is pretty fire, very wholesome. And I don't know if I'm the only one, but do you guys also do this thing where you watch the OP probably the first time, maybe a few more times, during the show, but just to enjoy the music at that point. But for the first time when you watch it, you're trying to get a sense of this overall story of the anime. You're trying to see like what are the character dynamics between certain characters. Okay, who's the bad guy? Who's the rival? Who's the love interest? Who's this and that? So shout out to the guys who did the OP, the opening song. I believe their name is official Hige Dandism. So shout out to those guys. It's a fire song. I'm definitely adding that to my playlist. But yeah. So I don't know who else does that. Do you guys also do that when you're going through like new anime? You watch the first one and you're like, okay, what is who are the players in this game, right? So the OP's fire. I had to start with that because that's amazing. But after that, right, we start talking about, okay, the actual subject matter, which is the human chimpanzee hybrid. And his name is Charlie, right? Classic. Um, is that okay? No, the one in that Planet of the Apes was Caesar, but Charlie is such a like I don't know. Charlie and me. It's a good name, I guess, for pets, I guess. But Charlie. So okay, this is funny to me, but the guy who was in charge of the genetic um, mutation or the genetic experiment, his name, from what we get, is his name is Dr. Grossman. Now I'm saying Grossman, but the way it's spelled is like gross. if we're, it's a stupid joke, but it's funny as hell because it's like it's almost like why would you pick that that word or that name specifically? Because it's kind of like gross to think about. And normally, in a way to if we are thinking like in the natural way, because there is speculation, oh, this is how AIDS happened, right? A human being, a human male or a human female slept with a monkey, and so it's like, what the hell is going on? So it's just funny that his name is Grossman or Grossman. I'm giving him the benefit of a doubt. Like, listen, maybe they didn't think that deep into it, but Grossman is funny. It's hilarious to me. And from what we understand, is his location is unknown. He's missing. From the beginning, we find out the place where he was working, the research center or a holding center for Charlie's mother, was under attack by some other key players in the game, who are called they are eco terrorists. They are called ALA, the Animal Liberation. Where is it? Animal Liberation Alliance. So they are no, they believe in the rights of animals and they want to free them. Hey, animals should be free. They shouldn't be caged up. And obviously, there is some truth to that, but these guys take it to the extreme, right? Holding the researchers at gunpoint. And they find Charlie's mother. She's having a miscarriage. They they rescue her or take her out of the whole place when the whole raid is done, and she's able to produce Charlie, right? Apparently, she's probably already been tampered with. Now, the guy who probably performed the experiment, the Dr. Grossman, the one who tried to probably mixing some human DNA in her, he's not, no one's found him. He's missing right now. His location is unknown. But yet, this is the our guy. Charlie is the main reason for this story, and it's pretty much all about his life. Now, one of the other key players as well, we like we that's in the whole mix is Lucy, and yeah, Lucy is an inquisitive person. From what we can tell, she's a kind person. Trying to help a cat stuck in a tree, kind. So that's pretty good. We can also tell she kind of has like a social anxiety. She might have it. If you remember when she's sitting with Charlie and those other girls come in, she quickly puts her hood up, like, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe she's got some backstory we'll get into, or maybe she's been bullied or whatever. But from the OP, you can tell she ends up making friends with those girls. But at the moment, she's definitely, showing signs of like social anxiety, and she is Charlie's first friend. She becomes his first friend. Um, and there's Charlie's mother or adoptive parents as well. I only got the name of the mom, Hannah. That's another key player. But yeah, so who is Charlie? Just in case you didn't get the first time, he's a human hybrid from a genome editing technology. He was created that way. And it is pretty crazy. It's a whole crazy concept. We already talked about it. And we need to find the guy because we need to ask why this needed to happen. I think that's a big thing. We need to know why this guy decided to do that. But yeah, this whole anime in general, it requires a certain level of an open mind because yeah, it tackles a lot of issues, right? Um, I lean more towards the creationist perspective rather than evolution. So at first I was gonna just dump this. I wanted to just watch it to see where it goes, but it's all right, I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm glad they didn't try to make it like it's a natural progression, like a human, like a mutation type of thing where a human slept with a female chimp and then gave birth to that. And I'm like, I wouldn't want to watch that. That's just too weird, bro. But Charlie is 15, so he's grown or he's growing. And one of the things we start to understand is that he is processing his emotions, right? He is starting to process human emotions, or he's trying to. He doesn't really understand it, but look at his face, man. He's such a cute guy. Uh cute cute chimp or whatever. But he's a charming fellow. And he's it's hard to I don't know why. There's a certain look about the dude, it's just innocence. And you gotta I don't know what it is with meek, innocent characters. Those are usually my favorite characters, just trying to live their life, but he's trying to understand human emotions, and Lucy obviously becomes his first friend, and that's cool. And yeah, that's pretty much it's gonna be about his life. Now, one of the things I remember I did want to touch on is one of the ways he meets Lucy first was by saving her, right? So Charlie is someone who, in the process of finding his emotions, he shows empathy, right? He saw she was about to fall and he leapt into action. This was the first time they met. Remember I said she was trying to save a cat from a tree. You watched it. And he saves her from it. And in that whole moment, we find that, it's a comment made by one of the other characters, side characters or supporting characters, that what he does here is something that no chimp should be or animal should be able to do. And I forgot to screenshot that part, but if you rewatch the episode, you will see there's a particular where he's hanging on to right now, it shows his handprint. And that is legit in the sense that I don't think any animal like chimps have been swinging from trees, trees to trees for how long, for eons or however long we've been on Earth. And I don't think they would ever leave like a palm print. So that tells you the grip strength of this dude. So this guy is most likely more powerful than a normal chimp. He's already smarter because he's got like half human DNA, right? So he can already speak. He speaks fluent Japanese. He can talk. He goes to school. So this is such a. I feel so every time I see his face, I feel so bad for him because he just looks sad. But at the same time, I just got to remember that this dude is he doesn't even probably know what it means. He doesn't even know what it means to be sad. Like he's just his this is probably just his blank face, but it just looks so sad. And you can kind of imagine first day of school. He's joining a new school. He's gonna try to make friends, and he's kind of indifferent to the whole thing, right? He's just trying to process emotions, trying to process all that's going on around him. If you notice, whenever his parents hugged him, he didn't hug back. He just answered yes, no, sure. It was but yeah, he's going through a whole lot. And the innocence is very charming, at least for me. And it's gonna be very interesting to see how far, how he goes, how he, you know, grows and explores more of his emotion. If you remember in the beginning, when he was being called by his folks, he saw a snake eating a bird, and he just looked at it kind of like, oh, so nature, whatever. He was indifferent to it. But in this, you can see the growth by the end of the episode because he saw something similar in the sense of a spider about to eat a butterfly, and this time he reaches out and he lets the butterfly go, right? Which is showing like his mind is starting to work, right? It's starting to like think, he's starting to feel that empathy. The first sign of empathy was probably here, but by the end of the episode, it was here, right? And that we know, so. And I remember one of the bullies, there's always a douche, there's always one, and his name is Ozzy. I didn't even grace him with with a screenshot, but he makes an argument that, hey, fair argument, kind of, where he's like, hey, would you kill another animal to kind of save yourself? And he's like, yeah. So, which speaks about self-preservation, which I think everyone would do, right? Right, but it's self-preservation. So my life, yes, I will save a life, but if it's between my life or yours, if I have no connection, like familial or really close like that, yeah, you're on your own, buddy. I'm not gonna lie, but he's all about self-preservation, but then he starts to develop empathy and stop things where it happens. But here's one of the interesting things. So there's already a lot of things in that whole conversation about self-preservation. He was asked about the concept of vegans and vegetarians, versus eating meat eaters or whatever came up. And that's something that's already divisive in today's world already. It's a big thing. We got groups on, maybe, I think at least on the vegan side. I don't know about, everyone else, but it's something that causes division for sure. And me personally, as a meat eater, I think as long as you're doing it, in I don't want to say in a wholesome way, but ethically at the very best. Now you will say, oh, how is it ethic to do this and that? Like, again, and it kind of ties to the self-preservation. If you I don't want to go too far into that because that would stir up some feathers that we could not handle right now. But I do agree that there's a lot of greed and there should not be all these animal farms, and we as humans kill way more than necessary. right? We always try to take it overboard. You know, give an inch and we take a freaking mile. Don't need to kill as many as we do or try to maximize profit. It's just like, hey, just kill what you need to eat and go about your business. Don't try to do any extra stuff. Um, but Charlie, apparently he's vegan, because his parents believe the same thing. And he brought up, another thing that he brought, this whole episode brought up that was interesting was this interfering with nature or the natural course of life, right? Where, as we can see, Charlie is saving this insect from being eaten. But in the beginning, he didn't save the bird from being eaten by the snake, right? And reminds me of certain Instagram pages. I don't want to pull any names because, just in case, I don't want it to be a serious situation, crazy situation. But I follow them. And for the longest time, even kind of till now, I still kind of agree with not interfering with nature in the sense where if you see, let's say, a bald eagle attacking a Canadian goose or geese, would you interfere to like save the geese? And probably, I'm like, me personally, no, but I would just take it as part of nature. But I remember, and to me, you get people in the comments and they're crying about, oh, why didn't anyone do anything? You got to save this and blah, blah, blah. And I just ignore that usually because it's nature, right? Like it happens. But someone I do remember one time brought up a good point where they're like, the mere fact that you're there, your presence is already there, has already interfered with nature because you're not necessarily in your natural habitat. You're in their habitat. So the fact that you're there and you're already interfering with their environment, you might as well stop that, if it's happening in front of you. And I disagree, but it's a good point. The person does have a point, like, hey, you are outside, you are maybe in the woods or you are at a certain point. But hey, listen, that's what I'm saying. This whole anime, it's just episode 1. And some people kind of closed off to it because they felt maybe the animation was lacking or, some things were rough or whatever. But to me, it was loaded. It had a lot of loaded stuff to think about. There was also, I just remembered, there was also the part of when the ALA, the Animation Liberation Alliance, the eco-terrorist group in the anime, when they made a bombing. I hope that trigger word doesn't mess up this YouTube stream. But when they caused they took out the attack on a diner, I think somewhere in the States, a child was involved who was one of the casualties, right? And one of the terrorists was like, yeah, I'm glad that the attack worked, but I didn't want the child to pass on, or to be part of the casualties. And his superior brought up a point. It was like, hey, what about all the baby animals? And it's like, when does it end? Because there's such a clash of wheels. I think this is a really good anime. I'm really curious to see where it goes because it tackles a lot of deep subjects. It really questions your morality and ethics and all of that. So it's very interesting. And then we have this guy, he's like the leader, one of the leaders of the ALA. And it's voiced by the same actor. I forgot his name right now. The actor who does All for One. So it's gonna be good. And we've seen from the trailers how action-packed it gets, as it goes on. So I'm all in for this anime. I went on my anime list and they give it like a 6.9. I'm like, what? This anime is really good. I don't listen. Sentence to Be Hero. We have a lot of heavy hitters this year, but this might be a sleeper. So, what do you guys think? But I'm not gonna let you guys go off easy. So I'm gonna give you guys some questions, and you let me know in the comments below what you think. What is your answer to this question? First of all, overall, it's a strong and interesting, first episode. So how do you like it? First of all, if you had to rate it out of 10, how engaging it was, the animation, the characters, were you able to really feel, what they were the message they were trying to push or whatever? Was it engaging enough? So let me know that. Yeah. That's the easy part. But now I'm gonna ask you some heavier questions. So are you a vegan? Are you vegetarian? Are you a meat eater? What's your stance? Because I came online. I'm trying to lead by example. I came on here, told you my stance. I'm a meat eater, but I believe there's a way to do it ethically. And I believe currently we're not doing that. But I'm a meat eater. Are you also on the creationist side or the evolutionist side or anywhere in between or somewhere else? Let me know as well. Would you also interfere with nature if you saw not your pet, because we know that's a family member, right? Um, you saw, like, let's say a snake eating a rat, street rat, not your pet or anything. Would you interfere? Would you try to stop the snake from eating that? So would you interfere with nature, or do you think that kind of thing counts as interfering or just letting nature take its place, right? So yeah. And what role do you see, Charlie playing in the future, if you care enough? If you give it a couple more goes, watch more episodes, let's see what role do you think he plays. And now the final one, it's not too hard, but do you actually think the mixing of species is possible in the future? To me, that is really wild. I want to say it's possible. Is it probable? No, I don't think I don't ever think I'll see it. I don't know. I don't know. No, I don't want to. No, 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 no. Whoa, whoa. How do I roll back though? There's power in the tongue. So um I will see, maybe I will see it. Maybe I will see it. The mixing of species, maybe I will, maybe I won't. I don't know. But do you think that it's possible that we can actually mix species? I think from what I understand, I remember asking Chat GPT this a long time ago, and it said the human genome doesn't allow, our DNA doesn't even allow, doesn't register, any other DNA, mixing. So it will not do anything, right? So that's unfortunate. I mean, that's fortunate, but it's scary that it knows that, because people probably have tried that. That is some next level weird. But yeah, what do you guys think? What do you guys think? Listen, I stood 10 toes down on my stance. I need y'all to come out and do the same. And in the future, I will be releasing videos and on episodes, and we can just talk about them. I think my next video, depending on how good it is would probably be Samurai Troopers. I'm interested in that one. But yeah, let me know. Let me know what you guys think. And again, if you like the content as well, like, share, and subscribe. We're trying to build something here, guys. So we want something that's more visual, more vocal, no more just typing behind the screens. Come on live. As this gets bigger and, I'm able to allocate time efficiently with this, I will do this monologue as you're seeing right now. And then after that, I will start to call people up. That's the goal. So let me know what you think about the episode and those questions. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.